right, we ready? I'm ready. Are you ready, Kadell?
I'm ready.
Dude, first of all, your background looks so dope.
It does.
Like, just flexing on everybody back there.
It's the wheels.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, we all good? Cool. All right, everyone, welcome back to the Between the Spokes podcast and Anovia Wheels podcast. I'm joined here with Sam, and we also have an extra guest today. Sam, would you like to introduce our extra guest here?
Yeah, so calling all the way from Japan, which is the coolest thing I think I've ever said in the podcast. We've got Kadell Johnson over here. So Kadell, we virtually met because a while ago, Josh came up to me. He's like, hey, check out this guy in Japan. He's got this crazy S15. He's really good. And I was like, all right, what sort of hype video is this? Like, I don't know. And I look at it and I'm like, I think that guy just clicked fourth at Evans. He was like, okay, this guy's for real. Like, this is crazy. And one thing led to another. And now we got Kadell here on the podcast. So, Kadell, I don't think I can do you justice as far as introduction goes because you're a pretty badass dude. Give us like a quick rundown of who you are and what got you here to get on the podcast.
My name's Kadell Johnson. I'm from Lauderhill, Florida. I came to Japan because I joined the Navy. I was active duty Navy diver for 7.5 years, and then a slot for a hot field came up for Japan, and I was like, there's no way I'm passing up that opportunity. So I came to Japan, and I found my love for like real drifting, and I was just like, you know what? Forget the diving, forget the normal working hours. I want to drift for the rest of my life. So I put myself in that position, and I've been grinding to pursue the professional route towards drifting. And then next thing I know, Anovia Wheels hits me up, or it was Artist of Wheels at the time. Sorry.
Yep.
I got a DM. I was just like, wait, what? Because there's those fake ambassador pages that are like,
oh yeah, yep.
Those fake spam. So I was like, what's going on? And then like I got more info, and then like they hit me up, like, and we talked face to face. I was like, oh shit, this is real. So like, we chopped it up, and then here we are now. And it's something I'm very grateful for. I can't even express it, man. Thank you guys for having me on board, for real.
No, thank you for coming on board. We're all huge fans. I think Gels and I geek out equally whenever you post something and we see what you're doing, because you're living the dream that a lot of us, want to pursue, and that's, making drifting your main thing, making cars your main thing. And I mean, you're in Japan and you've got an S15, so the list goes on and on and on. That just awesome stuff you're doing, but it's all because of the hard work. And I kind of want to spend today a lot just talking about kind of you and what got you here and what you're doing. So to start with, I think this is a question I always like to ask anyone that's drifting. Like, what got you into drifting? Like, what all of a sudden was like, oh, this thing is cool and I want to pursue this?
So you guys might have remembered the two collisions that happened a few years ago with the USS John S. McCain and the USS Fitzgerald. Big collision, and my team got called out. I ended up being a lead diver for both of those jobs, and then I was in a really dark space in my life, and you can say drifting was the only outlet that I had that let me release all that pain and mental stuff that I was going through. So literally drifting saved my life. That's the easiest way I can put it. So I'm dedicating 100% effort into making it to where I want to be. So
that's crazy.
No.
That's the long story short.
So when you first got to Japan, did you already have some exposure to drifting from being in the States at all, or is it something you really first experienced in Japan?
So my friend Richard at Easy Knuckles, I had an S14. I was stationed in San Diego before I came to Japan, and I had this little beat up S14, and my friend Rich took me to the track, and then we would do, we'd mess around on the back street, whatever you want to call it, but it wasn't like real drifting. It wasn't like the environment of like how it is here, and like it's just way different, man. So
yeah.
I was doing like J turns at the time, thinking I was like the most badass motherfucker out there.
Oh, yeah, you're like out there like I'm the drift king. Like this is easy. I'm so good.
Yeah, and then I guess yeah, it legit all started when I came here and I went to Ebisu Circuit for my first Matsuri. And at Mats, I don't know, man, it was just the craziest thing ever. It was Daigo Saito smashing into my S15 from behind on my first Matsuri. And it's just like, holy shit, like I get to drive with these pro drivers and just, you guys got to come out here and check it out for yourself. I can't explain the feeling of being at a track here. It's so much different than being at a track anywhere else in the world, man. It's something special, man.
I think having your first experience with the Matsuri and having Daigo smash in the back of your car is one of the craziest things I've heard. Like that is like mind blowing. And we will 100% take up on that offer to come out there and visit you, because that is on the bucket list, I think, for each of us to go and do.
If you guys ever notice my trunk, how it if you just look at it, it's not symmetrical. It's because of Daigo. It's been that way for years. I just left it. So it's my little trophy from drifting with Daigo.
I was gonna say it's not a bad wound to bear there. It's like, oh yeah, that was from Daigo, you know. That's what it is.
So how we're all car guys here, and you have something that we can't get right here just yet, and that's an S15. So why an S15, and how did you choose that car and acquire it?
It's the Mona Lisa, baby.
Okay, that's there we go. That's all we needed.
So when I was a kid, I went to summer school in Jamaica. I was spending 3-4 months in Jamaica for summer school when I was growing up. And then Tokyo Drift came out. And man, I watched that video every day, maybe twice a day sometimes. And like for 4 months straight, I was like, I gotta go to Japan and I gotta have a Mona Lisa. And it's like, I had an S14 and I sold it recently, but I wanted to collect the S13, S14, S15, the whole Silvia, the S12. And then I got here and it was like a sweet deal. It was I bought my Silvia for $5,000 Spec R, and I couldn't pass it up. Yeah, it came with LMGT2s, bride seat. Like, it has never been molested. It hasn't even seen over 7 pounds of boost. Like, everything was stock, and I was just like, yes.
That is unbelievable. You can't get like a shell over here right now for like $5,000.
No,
that was back in 2015 before like the whole big craze started.
Yep,
that's fair.
So let's give us a little rundown on your car, Kadell. Like what you don't have to give all the secrets away because I know you're competing, but like what's the setup that you got going on?
Shit, what can I say? It's nothing crazy. I pull the engine out. I have the head work done to it. The head is a built head. That was my main focus because flow matters. I mean, at least to me. So I adapted everything around my driving style, which I'm still learning. It's just a stock bottom end with some nice ACL bearings in there, metal head gasket, some BC cams, titanium retainers, heavier springs so I can rev the shit out of it. People talk all that mess about SRs. They can't rev. I take that shit to 8,300 and I beat the shit out of it.
Hell yeah.
Nothing. And it's been that way for years. And I just upgraded to the actual JK41B transmission. Everybody knows it as a CDO9, but I got the JK41B because it's a high revving model, so I rev high, so it suits my driving as well. And then the rest of the car, just the basics. You might see it. Oh, you can't see it, but stance suspension, cut and shut knuckles, extended LCAs, and then a bucket seat, and the rest is right here.
Driver. I think your setup is really cool. You know, I've messaged a little bit because when I was getting my S13 set up, you're giving me some tips, and hell yeah, look at that. There it is. That's beautiful.
I just took this off.
The fact that you are SR is so cool too, because I know at least over here, so many folks are taking their SRs out and putting LSs in, or going V8s and all of that. And I know a little bit has started that in Japan in one way or another. But the fact that you're SR and you rev the shit out of it is awesome because it's a super cool car and you drive it equally as hard.
Yeah.
And it's not something crazy. Like I was telling Gels when he first started, like you don't need Wise Fab or all this crazy stuff. Like keep it simple and then just drive the piss out of it. It's literally,
I think I have like some of the best senseis ever, and it all boils down to seat time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
seat time and a basic setup will get you far, because if you don't get the seat time, you don't know exactly what you need, and then you end up buying something way past your progression rate, and then it works against you, and you never get to develop that aggression in your driving. So it all just boils down to seat time, man.
So how much horsepower do you think your S15 is putting out right now? Oh boy.
Oh man!
Oh, he just left.
Wanna grab the
Oh no.
Just so people don't think I'm like lying about it. My car, I don't know if they can see the graph.
Yeah, a dyno
Well,
sheet. Straight up got a dyno sheet. Let's go.
And this is the second build. So the first build, when I had the T51AZ, we made like 350 to the wheels. And then I upgraded the turbo, and now we make 390 to the wheels. At the engine, we make 450.
Damn.
But to the wheels, it only makes 390, and that's on low boost. On high boost, it's like stupid crazy, but I can't push over a 1.5 bar because I'll crack a ringland. I didn't upgrade to forge rods and pistons when I was in there.
Gotcha.
Damn. That's a lot of power.
It is for a small little car.
Yeah, a little four-cylinder. That is always mind-blowing, but that's super cool. So, Kadell, you said you're trying to compete. Can you walk us through a little bit of like what that looks like in Japan as far as like where you're trying to compete and what that level is? Because it's a lot different over here in the U.S., and I'm not sure a lot of folks that are listening to the podcast kind of know what that it's like over in Japan.
So competing in Japan is way different. It's the U.S. or wherever you're at still shares, competition driving in general still shares the same general hardness, but in Japan, it don't even have to be about the driving. Everything is just a lot freaking harder because that's the culture here. But for instance, I compete in D1, and I just started to compete in EDS, Ebisu Drift Series. So this path at EDS will take me to Formula Drift Japan, and then D1 will take me to D1 GP, or D1 Lights and then D1 GP. And then to compete in Japan, you have to either have a registered car, which you can't register. Like my car, I can't register that shit. It's illegal as hell. That's one strike, which is the vast majority of a lot of drivers. And then to register your car every year or every 2 years, you're paying like $1,000 for your inspection and all this craziness. You have to have a loader truck. You have to sign a written statement to the competition staff that you have a loader truck. So you can't even get in unless you have a loader truck, because if you crash, they're not going to let you keep your car there. And then you get the point of that. I don't know. I don't even know. There's so many different avenues of it. It's difficult, but at the end of the day, it's worth it.
Yeah. So what, with kind of the two, different routes, what's been your favorite track to drive so far?
That's hard. I personally adore Toge, whether it's on the or Toge in the mountains, like Toge at Ebisu Circuit or like Toge in the mountains. There's just something that I'm just free on the Toge. So, and that's the best I ever drive is on the Toge, because I can just pin the throttle and just go. Like, it's just different. I drive way different on the Toge. I don't know why, but
it sounds so cool.
It does. It just sounds like being able to just do something like that.
No, we've got oval tracks and a grid system here, so it's really conducive to driving. Oh, hey, Larry, are you looking for gels here?
Yeah.
Hey, Kadell, we're gonna introduce Larry real quick on the podcast. So we're actually buying a Civic today. So Larry is giving gels a huge wad of cash on camera here.
I had to go to like 3 different places to get it. It's like funny that it's your money and you can't get it.
It's my money. I want it now. I feel like I've seen that commercial.
Just bring the title back.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much.
So sorry, Kadell, we're working on buying some project cars here. Maybe we'll delete this out of the podcast so people don't get it too soon. But we love Fast and Furious. Our fans love Fast and Furious. So we're actually buying a Civic from like the first Fast and Furious, and we're gonna do a little bit of a modern interpretation with it. So like still keep the green underglow, do like a kit, keep it black. So it'll be pretty dope.
It'll be awesome.
That'll be sick.
So with the courses you get to drive, and like Toge, off the track, obviously at Ebisu you got Toge. Can you talk to a little bit about like the car culture in Japan for drifting and like and what that's like? Because a lot of us have a lens through like Instagram or through YouTube of what it's like, but like you're in it. Talk to us a little bit about what that car culture is like.
So car culture here, it's like you can find everything and anything, man. From the guys that love all the anime, the Atasha style guys, to like the hardcore drivers, like anything and everything is here. You go to the track. I mean, at first, especially as a foreigner, they don't know who you are, so they're pretty standoffish. But once they see your character and that you speak some Japanese, and they're like, "Oh, he's not just a asshole gaijin," and then they open up to you, and then that opens so many more doors. But the culture itself, man, it's something I don't even know. It's so hard to replicate and explain. That's why I want you guys to just come here so you can just see it.
All right, let's go.
Dad, we
let's
need to go on
Come
a field trip real quick.
But I don't know, man. It's something really special. That's what I can say about it. It's something really special. People dedicate their lives to like their craft, just like anywhere else. But like here, I don't know. It's just different.
Yeah, it seems like it's not as much of like, like I said, a hobby to like a lot of people. It's like, oh, they kind of do it on the side. It's like, no, these are these people's lives. This is what they do. This is what they literally, eat, breathe, and sleep. So
you have to incorporate the hardworking side of Japan, and then when they get to drive and work on their cars and do other things, that's their like the only time they have to like relax and decompress from the society of Japan. Like people think Japan's like Tokyo Drift, and it's far from it. It's way far from it. That's all I'll say about that. But yeah, man, it's something special for sure.
That's really cool. When it comes to like dedicating yourself to something like that, obviously it's a pretty big leap. And I know one thing over here that people try to do is balance time with it, and what they can do like is. And around at least here, like events aren't happening all the time as far as like drift events go. Like it's kind of like a little bit sporadic. Where we are, like out in California, it's much more available. But for you, Kadell, are there events that you could participate in like every weekend, or is it like a couple times a month, or what does that look like for you?
So you go on the website for each track, they have a calendar, and literally almost every week the track is running an event, like no matter where you're at. Even if it's snowing, like Ebisu's open 7 days a week, every week. Like it'll be snowing piles and piles and piles. They're open because the rally guys want to go there and drive. Like that's their like this is their real. It's a part of them. I don't even know how to word it. It's their culture. Like racing is part of their culture, and like there's a big majority of Japanese people that don't even know what drifting is, but how do I explain this? I never been asked this, so it's hard to explain. But I'll just go back to what I said earlier, man. It's something special. But they do hold events like every week. Say like D1's coming up in like 2 weeks. The week before there'll be an event where almost everybody that's going to compete will go and practice. You just sign up online. You can pay online. You just show up and drive, and that's it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it seems really, really open. Not like maybe like a once a month during the 4 months of summer that we get kind of thing.
Yeah, we have a narrow window of driving time.
Yeah.
When it snows around here, nothing's open, unfortunately. Wisconsin's not conducive to that. But hey, that just gives you more time to work on your car in the winter.
Yeah, exactly. It's like when it does happen, it's go time because we spent the last like 6-7 months cooped up looking at our cars and like, yeah, maybe I should fix that finally. We still wait till the last minute though.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
So when it comes to cars, Kadell, like at least over here, like S chassis have gotten unbelievably expensive. For what they are, because they were cheap and people wadded them up, threw them into walls, broke them, trashed them, all that stuff. And they haven't made any more of them, so it's become more and more expensive over in Japan. Like what are you seeing as far as like what the common drift cars are. Is it still a ton of S chassis, or are newer things starting to come? Because we're starting to see like FRSs and BRZs become more popular, a lot more 350Zs, like that sort of stuff. Like what's that looking like when you go up to a drift event?
It's still S chassis central. You go down to Kansai, Osaka, those are the S chassis boys. You go up to Tokyo, it's the JZX club. You go to Gunma, it's the 8-6 guys. Like, they're still keeping it old school, even though the prices are way jacked up. But you do see hit and miss few, like bringing out A90s for racing.
Yep.
And then, yeah, man, I haven't seen anything like drastically new. FD, RX-7s, still the same, because it's not that hard to find here for like the right price, I guess. So
yeah, I think like what's really happened over here and why we've been seeing kind of like a lot of that shift is like, you talk about the S chassis prices have gone up a ton, to actually get like a A86 to do what it needs to do. That price has gone up a ton, where it's like, or I could just go buy like a 5-year-old 86 or BRZ or something like that for the same price, and not have any issues and literally just be pretty much ready to go. The price has like fluctuation has caused a lot of shift, I feel like.
Yep. And the BRZs are a good platform because even though BRZ and JZX share the same diff and they're strong as shit. So
yeah.
I believe it's already started with the FRS and BRZ, but also 350Zs are becoming way more popular now.
Sure.
Everybody still can't afford a brand new $30,000 car, so they're in between where S chassis are and then the new car. So I guess that's where the Zs and BRZs and stuff fall right into.
I think you mentioned the diff that is shared between those cars. I'm pretty sure Toyota put that diff in like every single rear-wheel drive car they made for a while, because I have an IS300. If it's an IS300, I'm pretty sure it goes into a Chaser, goes into the BRZ. Like it goes in like everything.
Yep.
Like, it's hilarious. Like, cool. There's a bajillion of these floating around now.
Which is good for later down the road.
What was that?
It's good for later down the road.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah,
keep prices down a little bit.
At this stage in my life, I think I've just become a hoarder, and I'm just, if I see good deals on stuff, I'm just buying it. I feel like there might be going on behind you a little bit, Kadell. I can't totally tell.
Yeah,
but
I got a little SR20 stash because people want ridiculous prices, so I'll buy junk motors, and I know what I'm doing and how to get them to work again. So, yeah.
I remember there was a SR20 floating around in a bin around here last summer for a while, kind of hopped between desks a little bit. I think Anna had it, and then someone else had it, and then Anna had it again, and then you had it. Do you still have it?
Yeah, it's in my basement right now. Yeah, I have a SR20 and a tote in my basement at the moment, because I was like, well, I was like, man, I'll just drive harder if I know I have an extra one. And then I traded some MB battles to my friend Carl for a couple SR transmissions, and I was like, all right, now I don't have to worry about a transmission blowing up because I just pop a new one in there. So my garage is getting pretty full. I'll just say that. But that's how it goes. Gels, what do you got for Kadell?
Oh man, I think it's been super cool. Like I said, when Josh came to us and said like, hey, we should check out, this guy over here who's doing some really cool stuff, and just obviously being able to like, learn your story and able to talk to you for like the last year or so has been super cool. And I just wanted to say thanks for, doing everything that you do and being such a cool person to be able to work with us. And, it's been cool to see the progression of the stuff that you've done throughout even just like the last year and stuff, and to be able to like hear your story and what got you involved, I think is super neat. And like Sam said, I think, you said it, you're like, yeah, I want to do that. That's my dream. And I think that's a lot of people's dreams where you actually went and did it. So that's super cool.
Yeah, man, I started out I literally packed up 5 bags. And so I got out of the military. I went to Jamaica for a month with my wife. I just took her on a trip so we can just relax. Flew back to the States, packed up 5 bags, got on the plane, landed in Japan, didn't have an official plan. I was just like, I know what I want to do. I'm going to do it. And went from sleeping on the floor to like this. It's like crazy. But
Damn.
It's like, did it, man. So, I'm doing it. Like, yeah.
So what, what's it like living in Japan? I guess like did when you first there was it kind of like culture shock and like hard to communicate? Like I guess do you speak pretty fluent Japanese at this point, or is it something you kind of still work through?
I don't speak Keigo, but I speak like neighborhood Japanese. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
So,
Uh,
so what's like the biggest like culture shock or like shift for you or things like you still kind of work through like living in Japan?
One thing I'm still working through, which will never change, is these people pay like $4,000 to get a driver's license and go to driver's school, and they drive so freaking shitty and slow. Still, it's so annoying. But other than that, the other thing is like I don't know. They're stuck in their roots and their way, and getting things done takes a long time. In America, you're used to like a phone call. All right, I'll be there in 30 minutes. Here, it's not like that. Um, Usually in houses, there's like no space. Like especially from what I'm doing, I'm lucky I got this house. I didn't even plan for to have all this space, but that's another thing. There's not enough space to like house all of your equipment and stuff, which I'm running out of space.
No, it looks totally normal to me. I don't know what you're talking about. It looks fine.
But the diet, the food here, obviously I have a Jamaican background, so I love Caribbean food. You got to go all the way to Tokyo or mad far to experience like different culture foods. Um, but I don't know. I guess there was a huge culture shock of peace because Japan is all about keeping the harmony, even if like someone's in the wrong. They like to just keep the peace versus like you step off the plane in America and like everybody's already yelling at each other and mad.
Yeah,
and it's like,
true.
what are you guys so angry about? You have everything, and it's like definitely the peace thing was a culture shock. There's the car culture too. That was a culture shock too because it's so weirdly different and cool at the same time.
Yeah.
Everything, man. The language obviously holds people back because then you don't get to communicate and actually understand what's going on around you. But once you pick up the language, it brings that culture shock value down. That's why a lot of people have a struggle in Japan. They stay here for years and years and years because they don't know the language. So I'm not saying I'm an expert or none of that, but I know enough to keep me out of trouble and get stuff done. So
yeah, I was gonna say that's got to be hard. Like you got to feel so like just out of the loop of everything if you're not understanding literally what people are saying or like you said how to get something or how to do something or where to go. Like yeah, that's got to be super difficult.
Yeah. That's gonna be tough. So, with when we first started kind of going down the like the competition route and competing or whatever, was being a foreigner, were you looked at kind of like, oh, like this guy isn't very good, or like you have to like prove yourself, or how did that go?
So my first event at D1, I did like the shittiest I've ever did in my like whole driving.
Oh no.
But I remember on the intercom because you're speaking on an intercom and everybody could hear it. And they're like, who's this guy you think he is? Ha 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 ha. And then it literally was like a stepping stone phase of because so many foreigners want to come to Japan and be that motherfucker that and win everything. But it's like, and then they quit because they see how hard it is. And then so I showed up and they thought the same thing. But as time went on, like now the judges have like a mutual respect for me, which I'm super grateful because now they say nothing but positive things and like they're excited to see me come and drive now. So
hell yeah.
I mean, that's got to be like a nice change up for them because like you said, it's like, yep, they've seen it time and time again where like, yep, they came, they tried it, they didn't want to put in the effort for it, they leave. And for someone like yourself to like, nope, I'm in it for the long haul kind of thing, it's got to be kind of refreshing for them as well of like, all right, cool, yeah, we're about it. Like as long as you're gonna stick around for a bit, why not?
Yeah. When it comes to that judging, Kadell, do you in Japan, do you feel like they are looking at and like judging how you're driving way differently than what you see in the States, like with that style of drifting at all, or like any similarities, differences?
The judges are very picky here. And it all depends on what. So in D1 Divisional, there's different judges at each location, but for D1 Lights and D1 GP, it's mainly the same judges. And then EDS is mainly the same judges. So they all have like their different styles. It's hard to even compare. It's hard to even compare, but they're very picky. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I mean it's been around there a lot longer than here, so I imagine that they know what looks good very well compared to what they're not looking for. Yeah, it's to me it's always fun to watch. I love watching like D1 at I don't know, here it's like midnight or 1 a.m, and I love watching the live streams because it's just the tracks are so different, the cars are so different, like just the way they drive and like snapping angles so fast and the like really like quick transitions. Like to me, that's my favorite style of drifting is watching that. Over here, we drive with what we have, which is a lot of ovals, and I get it, but the courses you guys have over there and the driving style that encourages and the car setup is just it's so cool to me because it is different, but it's just exciting because it's fast.
Very and fast. That's how these courses are designed. Like for you to run the proper line, you have to be aggressive. It's not like a fast, straight, and then pull the e-brake. It's like, no, if you don't weight transition, you're not going to have enough speed to clear this corner, and you're not going to make the zone. And it just forces you to become a better driver.
For sure. Are you competing with people with a lot higher horsepower cars than you, or are you kind of? Yeah, I knew the answer to that. And I was just like, because it's gangster with what you're doing.
Like, yeah, I have the baby SR, but I studied a lot of guys that use the SR, and it like especially with how the tracks are designed in Japan, you actually have a chance with the SR, in its like DET form, not no VET form. But like I've driven with 600 power JZs, I've driven with 500 horsepower 1Js or 1.5Js, and like it really comes down to like the basics of your suspension, having a decent setup, and then just having balls. And I think that's because Japanese people are most Japanese people are very quiet and shy and timid, so it shows in their driving. And then I come around the corner and like my nuts are all hanging, like I don't care if I put it in that wall, like I want to. So that works in my favor. But yeah, man, it won't be an issue until I get to D1 Lights, because the tracks are huge. So then I'm going to step up my game to either an inline 6 or a V8 or whatever down the road.
So for an inline 6, this is a really important question. Would you go JZ or RB?
For the love of God, I would want to do an RB just because that's been my favorite engine. That's the first engine I ever experienced. My first time in a 240 was my best friend's dad at the time had the fastest street 240 in South Florida, and it had 1,100 horsepower. He made it in the Turbo Max 2, and we raced a Lambo on the way home. So we're merging on the highway, and a Lambo literally pulled up. It was like the best day of my life. And he just looks over, the guy looks over, and like we got to 200 miles an hour so freaking quick, and that's when I fell in love with RB. But RB prices are like crazy right now, and a reliability standpoint with how I drive, I don't know how long that would last. So recently I've been leaning more towards the 1J versus the 2J, the GTE, because that fits my style perfectly, actually. Yeah, I can beat the shit out of it, and it sounds good too. And it's still like an underdog, so I have to push it harder than the guys who are like blipping the throttle type of thing. So yeah, I would love to do a RB25, RB26, but I'm leaning more towards the 1JZ GTE now for reliability. When I get to that level of professionalism, and that's when I can do a crazy RB build like Ryan Literal did. So
yeah. Yeah, those prices are insane. I
Yeah.
I gotta redo something with my RB. Something's not happy with it, and I don't want to buy any parts for it because it's so expensive right now.
No.
But the 1J sounds so good. Like for the record, like in the JZ family, the 1J is an angry 1J. Almost sounds as good as an angry RB.
Yeah,
but
they are very distinct. Like you can always tell like when they're out there.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
My goal is to confuse people because they know I'm a Nissan guy. So
Ah.
I won't pop the hood for a while, and then they're just gonna be like, "What the fuck?"
Also, I forgot to mention, 200 miles an hour in a 240 is 100 miles an hour way faster than anyone should be going in one of those cars. Holy crap.
That is terrifying.
That is a scary car to go that fast in.
It was built for that though. He had the huge brakes, so like at the touch of the brake, he would slow down 50 miles an hour just like that. Like it was a well built car. So
yeah.
That's
and
good.
he
That's
now
incredible.
builds fastest RBs and 2Js in Florida still to this day. So he's an RB king in Florida.
Damn. I'll have to
From
send him
performance,
my RB.
baby.
Yeah, we get Gels rocking the KA in his 240.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a great car to learn in, but I love watching him out there. Nice. Hear the clutch kick, just wah-bah, wah-bah.
All like every 5 seconds.
We all started there. That was my first engine. I blew up like 3 or 4 of them. And then I was like, all right, either I turbo this thing or I'm getting an SR.
Yeah, that's basically what I've told myself too. Is like it's not a matter of if, it's when and what we're gonna do when that comes. So might have to snag Sam's 240 or SR out of his basement when that time comes.
You got to pry that out of my cold dead hands.
All right, fine.
I ain't letting that thing go. I don't know. I'm gonna find another one.
Yeah. No, it's been a really fun car though. I have been enjoying it a ton, and like I said, the guy that had it before me set it up pretty decent. It's got a lot of like good basic stuff to it, so it does what I need it to do.
The best part of Gel's car, Kadell, was he had what I will refer to as a quick release motor, because the motor mounts weren't really attached to the motor.
Yeah. The one nut was like halfway off. The other one didn't have a nut on it, so the whole thing could have just like jumped out at any point.
Yeah.
Wow.
Less than ideal. Well, we've been kind of grilling you for a little bit here. Are there any questions you got for us, Kadell?
When did you guys get into drifting?
Oh man.
So Tokyo Drift, that was like, this is cool. Like cars are sliding. I want to do that. And then just like playing video games, like and stuff from there. But like really, I always thought it was cool, but never thought I could do it. And then I went to a Super D event in Shawano, and I always loved like the animal style guys and like followed them, thought they were super cool. And then seeing that in person, I'm like, damn, I got to go do this. Like, I just can't sit here and watch anymore. My friend Pete that was with me was wanting to sell his IS300, and I was like, that's a cool car. I could drift that. And pretty much from then on, there's that. And then COVID happened right away. So I was like, this is great. But what actually the good part about that was the first events I went to at the track, like I would screw around on the street and like drift one corner and think like, oh, I can drift. Like, this is it, not linking anything. But at the track during those events, it was like drift day quarantine. So there's a limited driver cap. So I got so much seat time, and that it was a stock IS300. All it had was a diff out of an FRS and coilovers, like stock angle, stock power, like everything. And I just drove the absolute shit out of that car for that year. And that's kind of what got me started. And oh, hey, Dakota. No, we're doing a podcast. We're working here. Sorry. No, we're good. But yeah, so that's why Dakota's our worst employee at Fitness. So no, but that's kind of how I got started. Was just, it looked so cool, and I just wanted to go do it. And it was the best thing I ever did for me, the worst thing I ever did financially.
Yeah.
For that. But Gels, what got you?
Yeah, it was kind of the same thing. It was I come from a very small town, northern Wisconsin. It was like everyone else was into trucks, and I was like, I got my Mitsubishi Eclipse. Like, this is cool. No one wanted to help me work on anything, and they're like, no, we don't mess around with those. Like, we want to do,
we don't do
stuff
foreign
for
cars.
Yeah,
like,
K1500s, So it was always like something that like, I saw like in the movies, the video games. I really enjoyed it. It was like, man, you must have to go to like a big city to do stuff like that. Like it happens overseas, it happens in California. And then it was like one of those things like, someday I want to do that. I really do. And never found the right time, but it was literally like last summer when we really started to do stuff like going to the tracks and stuff with Artista and Anovia. And I was like, man, this stuff is actually like really local and it's like really big and really local. And it was, there's no reason I can't do it. So that was literally like the push that I needed to like, all right, you've been talking about doing this for a long time. Let's do it. So it was literally last winter. I started the hunt for a car and ended up finding the 240, went down to Kansas and got it. And yeah, here we are now.
And we're super lucky because our local track is US Air in Shawano, and it's like an unbelievably fun track to drive because it's super technical, elevation changes, and the fact that we get final bout here as well is like the coolest thing because that is like one of the coolest events ever.
Elevation changes are like my favorite part of tracks too.
Yeah,
Just have a little spice to it.
Yeah.
We want to get out to Japan for sure, but if you ever make your way to Wisconsin, you can absolutely rip my 240 and go check out US Air because that would be, I think you'd really love it.
Hopefully when I come back to the States, it's to drive in Formula D USA.
Damn.
And then I can just take you guys for a ride.
Hell yeah.
I'm down.
Yep, we're sold. No, it's been super fun, and it, like Jill said, it's really cool to watch you and see everything you're doing because we're like living vicariously through through you with some of the stuff you're doing out there, and it's so fun to watch. You have some huge fans back here in Wisconsin.
Dude, like it's like I'm very like secluded in what I do, and like I'm not in this for fame or money. I'm doing this because it's something real to me.
Right.
That opens up, just opens me up and lets me be me behind the wheel. And it's crazy, man, because I met some people at the last round of EDS that it was just like, wait, you're this person, like you watch my stuff and you're inspired. And it's just like, it's people that I would never even expect that actually watch my stuff.
Yeah.
And he was telling me, he was like, yeah, man, a lot of people don't even express their failures and stuff like that. Like when things are going bad and like they're failing. And he's like, but you express that so people can actually relate because it's not something perfect. They see the struggle.
Yeah.
See all the levels to it because I'm not hiding anything. But
yeah, it's real. People can actually relate to it, like you said, and connect with that.
So it's like now I realize, I think it wasn't until after I watched the Forrest Wayne interview with Aaron on Lone Star. And Forrest Wayne was like, he wished he got to compete out here like back in the day, but he expressed why he couldn't. And it's just like, man, my favorite drivers wish they were doing exactly what I'm doing right now. So I realize what I'm doing is big, but I don't know how big, but I definitely understand it's bigger than me. And I guess I do have a lot of supporters, but at the same time, I still don't know like how many, but every time, how would I word it? Like you say, there's a lot of people in Wisconsin, and then I find out the other day there's a lot of people somewhere else, and it's just like, why don't these people just message me? Like I'm open to all this stuff. Like people think I like have a cold face, I guess sometimes, and like standoffish, but deep inside, I'm really happy. I like talking to people. So like if you're out there and you mess with me, hit me up, say hello or something. I really enjoy it.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. Like I think I posted on my story or whatever when I got my the B knuckles, and you're like, yo, here's what you need to like get it set up. And I was like, oh man, this guy is so cool. Like I really appreciate that. And you're so genuine on it, and that's what, and sharing the failures, and like it's not all good things that happen. And in drifting, there's a lot of bad stuff that happens because you crash or like parts break and that stuff. And sharing those struggles, I think that helps make you really real and relatable, like Jell said, because it's something that everyone goes through, and social media too often is just all the good stuff.
Yeah,
and that's not what life is about, because the good things are good because of the struggles you go through to get there. Like I don't know about you, Kadell, but when I'm working on my car for like all week to get to an event, then I just absolutely rip it and you're riding the rev limiter, you're like, yeah, this is sick. Like this is where all that work falls away because it's like all those like, you know, late nights. It's like it doesn't even matter anymore because you're out the track.
A lot of sleepless nights, man. Right before this, I was wrenching on the car, preparing it for the next event. Like it's nonstop, like literally nonstop. So I love it though. Keeps me going.
Yeah, I'm excited. This weekend's the next event, and I can't wait.
Yeah, me and Dakota are gonna come watch you. Hopefully, no unforeseen incidents this time.
Yeah, hopefully. Last time Gels and Dakota came out, I smoked a fence really hard. So we still drove. It just caved in like the doors and like destroyed half the car, but it still drove. So we still got out there and ripped.
It was awesome. We ripped your fender off. We ripped some other pieces off, and then you had a blast the rest of the day. So that was really fun. That's
the best part is whenever, at least for me, whenever I crash or go off and like wreck a body panel or whatever, I just drive angry, and that's the best driving. It's like I should just be that angry all the time. Like
I don't even think it's angry. I think it's the level of fucks have gone out the window.
Yes, that's it. No fucks.
The car's already screwed up.
Yep.
What's it matter?
It's already happened. So how much worse can it get? Who cares? And then you just
Yep.
Cool. Well, I appreciate having you on, Kadell. I think we want to definitely do this again, especially as the season progresses. Want to hear how that's going, everything you're going through, and we also got some new wheels on the way. So once we get those 17s, we're gonna ship those out to you.
Yeah, assemble!
For real.
They're coming.
They are officially. They've been on the water, I believe. So we're counting down the day, like a couple weeks out. So
yeah, I'm just waiting for that message of like they're in the United States, they're on a truck.
Yeah, like, then we'll get some out to you. Cool. We really appreciate it, man. Thanks again for taking the time. I know it's not the morning for you right now. What time is it, by the way?
I think it's like 11 p.m., almost 12.
Damn.
Oh my God.
Well, we really appreciate you jumping on and taking the time. So thanks again, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And keep crushing, man. We're looking forward to seeing what you got in the near future. So.
Oh yeah, man.
Cool.
We'll do. I appreciate you guys so much for having me on here. Like I said again, this is a dream for most drivers, and it's like I have it, so I can't take it for granted. And I'm super fucking grateful, and I'm gonna take this shit to the top. So
let's go. Awesome, man. Well, you take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care, Kadell. Thanks.
Later, guys.